grew up, I think my first time really seeing a guitar player, or I was maybe 13, 14 at my when I lived my parents watching on a little TV, seeing Mark Bolan with T-Rex on TV. Uh, I I I I,
Oh,
I think I think it's it's different, but it still has a lot of the same elements.
mhm.
And Johnny has actually was part of the first album, and then he did a remix version of Memory of Love. So he's still, the Beauty and Chaos family continues to grow.
Yeah, it's so cool. And it's difficult work when each person express their ideas in their own style.
No, I think that's actually one of the joys of it. It's like we send the music. I speak to singers, ask if they like to be part of it. In my head, I've been really lucky to kind of hear that voice and go, this song would be really good for this person. And it comes back and it's like a surprise, like Christmas morning, I get an email saying that they've finished it. And every track has just been wonderful. It's never been like a bad thing, like because I think everybody really takes it seriously. The lyrics are really important to me in this project. And I think that's what I'm attracted to besides you know, great voices, but also people great lyric writers. This isn't, I don't want to have something come back about rock and roll and party and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I think it's a deeper um
Yeah.
thing. Usually they write all their own lyrics. All I usually do is tell them the title of the album, and it goes from there. So it's a complete collaboration.
Yeah, that's so cool. And we're talking about Dancing with Angel, Divine for Pearls, the first song that's come from this new album. It is a very beautiful melody with lyrics that talk about losing a love, but continue to love that person, right?
I
And
Yeah, that's kind of what Wayne has said. He's very I think like me, he has the feeling that the best lyrics are one that when you read it or you hear it, you
Mhm.
kind of develop your own idea about what the song is about instead of being so literal and going, this song is about love and loss and this. So he hasn't even told me who it was about. I know
Another,
it's not about Cynthia. I mean, they're fantastic
yeah.
couple.
Wayne and Cynthia, right?
Yes. So it's definitely when I first heard it, the first verse, I was like, oh, he wrote a love song about Cynthia. And it was as I got further into hearing the lyrics, I went, no, it's not about that. But I think when you hear it, you probably go, oh, it reminds me about this part of my life, or it must be about that. And I think those are the songs that have longevity that the listener could put themselves into, even if it isn't what the singer in their mind was writing about. If it touches someone and they get a feeling from it, I think those are the ones that last.
You hear the melody in your head and put the idea with your guitar.
I do the music and they have total free reign. We don't send them a track. They write the words and they sing to it. So there's lots of melodies going on in the music, and I think sometimes too much. So this time we sent less to the singer, which allowed us to add more after. But Wayne's a total pro. I mean, this is the fourth song that he's co-written with Beauty and Chaos, and I think they just keep getting better each time. I mean, I think he's a master poet when it comes to that, and he always sends the same things to me. Oh, I don't have words. I'm really struggling with words, and then he writes something great. So go figure.
Cool. And when you didn't have any idea for compose, what are you doing?
If I didn't have ideas,
Huh?
wow, that's a
For
good point.
lyrics or something to complement their songs?
What do I do? Uh,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
uh, I don't know. I guess if I didn't have a singer to do it, I would have to sing it myself.
You're singing something, some melody like da 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 da.
I haven't had to do that yet. You know, it been really lucky that the music, when they hear it, it inspires them. They come back. It's like they start doing the da da da, da, and then it develops into a song. So it is a total collaboration with them, and each record, I seem to find more singers. With Dancing with Angels, I've kind of kept it a bit quiet who's on it. I try to, being that it doesn't come out to next month. Uh, but there are a couple of singers that have been on previous records, and there are at least half of the singers are new, and which I think just kind of keeps expanding our our audience and also just the family of people that have been part of this.
Yeah, that's cool. We are working with legendary producer Tim Palmer. You arrived with some idea what it is like to work with him.
Tim's always been one of my favorite producers. I mean, I'm blessed to have Michael Rosen, who
Yeah.
mixes and produces and co-writes with me. Uh, but we wanted this song, at least this version of it, to have that kind of single feel and a throwback to kind of the mid 80s era, which is where Tim, like that, where I first discovered him. I mean, I love his work with The Mission, U2, Tears for Fears. I mean, I think he's just wonderful. And I was fortunate to meet Tim, I think it was 2016. Wayne invited me to Tim's studio. Tim and Wayne were mixing The Mission's Another Fall from Grace. And I went down to the studio and got to hear some of the stuff. And we went out for a dinner, the three of us. And after some quite a bit of vino tinto, I just asked him, I said, hey, would you be interested in mixing some stuff? And he did some of the early stuff, and then Wayne suggested on this single, like the single version that we have, Tim do it. And
Yeah.
I just turned it over to Tim and knew we were going to get something. And just to hear somebody of his caliber, that's worked with Bowie, Robert Plant, Robert Smith, and Wayne,
Wow.
right back and go, this is a great song. I'm singing it all day. And really nice guitar work and all. I mean, it's definitely a good feeling, to even be mentioned with those legendary artists.
Yeah, it's a lot of rock star or legendary
Yeah,
rock star.
those are total rock stars, Bowie and stuff. As I had those posters on my wall when I was a teenager. So just to have somebody that, mix Bowie doing one of our songs is pretty freaking cool.
And now you can work with him, with all the musicians that you admire.
I have a list that I would love to work with. It doesn't always happen that way. Not everybody says yes. But
Yeah,
it's also been really, really nice to kind of have, I have just as much joy in singers maybe that some people have not heard of I always look at it really the only, I've certainly put David Bowie on a pedestal. I mean, that is like a musical icon.
Yeah,
A lot of people that are in, it's just some of it is just getting being famous and getting that break. It's not always that they are better than the singers that we have on the records that aren't famous. I mean, the last record, Whitney Ty, Cat Leone, Steven Seabold. I mean, these people aren't household names, but certainly have a wonderful catalog of music, and they just didn't. Everybody can't be famous, but that doesn't mean that we haven't found a lot of extremely talented people. And I think, and I hope on this record when it comes out that people will discover
yeah.
some artists maybe they haven't heard of. And I always ask that everybody Googles everything. And I just ask like, Google these people, listen to what they did outside of Beauty and Chaos. And I think they'll find some amazing songs and amazing lyrics and just wonderful people. I think that's been a joy of Beauty and Chaos is becoming friends with some just wonderful people, that and
Yeah,
that's really what this is about, is is finding new people and creativity and people that are doing this for the love of making music, which I think gets lost in today's world. Everybody's trying to be famous or trying to to write the way what they think people want to hear. And we just, everything starts. I pick up a guitar and what comes out, depending on the sound that I have, it just, I don't know, something flows through. And I'm fortunate that it connects with singers and it flows back. And I think, have some really beautiful songs that way.
yeah, like musicians are runner goners that not be famous, but they are so good.
Yeah, fame doesn't always equal talent, and
Yeah,
talent doesn't always equal fame. But that's okay. It's like I doing this was
it's
when
for
I
me.
started doing this, it was one to prove to myself that I can
Yeah,
do it. And then second is to just for the joy of making music. When I was a kid, I dreamed of being rock star, being on the stage, having people scream and everything. And as you get older, you realize that isn't why you should be making music. It should be an expression. It's a creative outlet. And, you know, I've been fortunate to join Human Drama in Mexico, played Mexico quite a bit. I got to go back, with my wife, and we played with Gene Loves Jezebel, and we played Guadalajara with the Mission. And I've always felt that Mexican people have been very genuine and love lyrics and not as jaded, especially as jaded as people are in Los Angeles. So that Mexico uh, and Mexico City and Guadalajara become some of my favorite places in the
yeah,
world. I think they just relate to it, and even if they in their broken English, I mean, most of them speak better English than I do Spanish, that's for sure. But I think they get the emotion, and that's a joy of doing this. And I'm fortunate that even to that extent that we've been able to play down there. That's been some of the highlights of my musical career, that's for sure.
yeah. That's so cool, and thank you for sharing that part of your life.
Were you at the show with the Mission and Gene Was Jezebel in
Yeah,
Guadalajara?
I listen that band too. I listen all or your projects, all another projects.
Well, that's good to know.
um, well, in talk about this album, we will have read previous musician, but there will be new surprise, right? Or is still a secret?
It's still a secret. I mean, today's world, no
Okay.
one wants. wants any kind of mystery. And like I said, there's gonna be, we already know Wayne's on it. There's gonna be a couple of people that have appeared on the other, and there's some new people. There's got to be a little bit of surprise in the world. It's not
Okay.
that it's not that far away, but I we have been busy. We shot a video last weekend for one of the songs, and just this Saturday we shot another video. So videos are kind of important, being that right now it's not a live band. I never kind of thought about ever putting it on stage. Now I kind of think about it, like how we would do it now that we have more singers, that it's becoming more possible. But the video is kind of the face of what we do, and they're honestly fun to do. They're like making little mini movies, and we try really hard to make each one really different than the previous one. And I think as the one that we did with Wayne and Cynthia, Diving for Pearls, is very kind of psychedelic and smooth. This other the one that's going to come out next month is different and far more dark wave and a little more in that realm. So I like the pendulum to swing
Yeah,
different sides.
that's so cool. And in this project, talking about genres, you can feel greater freedom when composing.
Uh, you know, I or do you mean, do I think it if it should be a man or a woman singing it? Is that what your question was?
No, you more freedom when you're composing in the beauty of chaos. That in human drama, for example.
Yeah, I mean, human drama over the years became more of Johnny's songs, and that he kind of guided it into that direction. And my input for that was, when I was in the band, was just adding guitar stuff. Uh, this is kind of starts from a clean plate with myself doing it and sitting with Michael, and we turned it into a song. So it's a different challenge for
Yeah.
sure. Uh, Starting from zero and turning it into something that become more your children than maybe watching someone else's children.
Mhm.
Yeah. But like I said, it's really become, it's a joy, and it's like when we did the first record in 2008, it was kind of, I wanted to see if I can do it. I kind of put a challenge to myself, and here it is, going into 5 years later. In 5 years, this will be four studio albums, and then each album we've done a follow-up with a remix album, which is it's a different thing in itself. It's like sending another producer or an engineer or an artist all the tracks and letting them just throw the puzzle on the floor and put it
Yeah.
back together the way they want. And that's actually really cool too, to kind of hear how someone else interprets what we've put out. So this record will certainly have a remix record that we probably will have out in early December. So we don't rest much. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, that's cool. And would it be difficult to manage a tour of Latin America, or is it in your plans to be here with your project?
I like I said, this was never thought about being live, but I think it would be a real shame to do this like whenever it's time for this to end, to not have performed it on stage, because I still really love that aspect, that connection with an audience, you know, especially Mexico. And I say that not just because I'm talking to you in Mexico. I truly, from my heart, you know, we've played a lot of places in the United States, and something and I'm referencing with human drama, something has
Yeah.
just resonated with that band with Mexico, and that's a beautiful thing. Would it have been great if that would happen in every city in the world? Yeah, but it's certainly wonderful that it's happened there. And I think about it more than I thought I would, like how to do this. It
Yeah.
would be doing a show with 14 songs or 12 songs or something, could be having 8 or 10 singers have to come. So it's an undertaking. Maybe. I would love to say yes. I don't know how that would work yet, but I think after this record comes out, I think I will have some time to really think how that could happen. It's expensive to tour, uh,
Right.
even more expensive to have that many singers, but I don't know. I think the project, uh, I hate that word project, but I think Beauty and Chaos deserves. I would love to see it. I would love to look back and see what everyone that's been part of this has been part of creating, seeing it
Yeah.
culminate on a performance. So maybe.
Oh, cool. Awesome for your fans in Mexico, in Guadalajara.
Yeah, like I said, they've been beautiful people, and one of the most touching things was after we did the Gene Loves Jezebel dates
Yeah.
in Guadalajara and Mexico City, was actually getting Everett to walk out and talk with everyone. They're so gracious, and it's something that doesn't happen here. Not even just because we're not popular. I just think there's a cultural thing that there's that for some reason, and it's a beautiful thing, is there's still more of appreciation I see in Mexico for the art of music, uh, where I think in United States, especially Los Angeles, which is where I live, there's a jaded, it's like kind of impress me, or I don't know. It's not the same, and it's certainly nowhere near as gratifying or as beautiful of an experience.
Well, and the last question that is so interesting for many guitars here. Um, how have been the guitarists that have influenced your career?
The guitarist, I
Yeah,
mean, I grew up, I think my first time really seeing a guitar player, or I was maybe 13, 14 at my when I lived with my parents, watching on a little TV, seeing Mark Bolan with T-Rex on TV, uh, doing Bang a Gong on a late night TV show. And it was like, Mark Bolan, the hair, the
yeah,
pout, you know, girls screaming, and then seeing David Bowie with Mick Ronson, uh, New York Dolls with Johnny Thunders. I mean, it's definitely a different time, but those people, that's where I realized that guitar was something, even though I didn't come from a musical family. I saw that, and before that I wanted to play American football, and that was
yeah.
I saw that, I saw those guitar players and Ace Frehley from Kiss, and went,
Wow.
wow, that's something that's really cool. And then bought my first guitar and tried to teach myself, and then started to realize that girls like guitar players more than they like football players. So as a teenager, that was an extra push. But then it grew, and I started to appreciate, more stuff. I got into, The Cure, the Sisters of Mercy, the Mission, you know, and later, fast forward a bunch of years later, some of those guys are friends, the guys in The Cure, and obviously Wayne and the rest of the guys in the Mission. And, it's it's kind of surreal that they treat me as an equal. You go some part of going, that's where I think you see the human side of it, that it's fame is just some of it is just luck. But yeah, and then I grew to appreciate, Dave Gilmour from Pink Floyd, and I
Yeah.
mean, so many guy, some people that aren't looked at as the fast guitar heroes. I mean, I love Kevin Shields from My Bloody Valentine, and guys are good. Anybody that makes different sounds with guitars. I think, you being a musician, and I hope you hear this in the Beauty and Chaos stuff, there's a lot of sounds in there that aren't keyboards, that we
Yeah.
do a lot of different things to really try to make the guitar sound not like a guitar. I mean, I have so many guitar pedals and ebows and bows and different things that we manipulated. It's like the first record, I was determined not to have any keyboards, but wanted to sound like it did. So those are my kind of guitar players I like. I mean, I think the Edge from U2 has a style on his own. Uh, I've always loved John Aston from the Psychedelic Furs. Just kind of, different guys. I would never sit there and go Yngwie Malmsteen or Steve Vai, those guys that sound like
Mm.
speed, like guitar gymnastics. Not 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 my thing. I'm sure
No,
they're
no, your
great.
style.
No, and I
Mm.
can't play that way. And I would never sit down and practice guitar to just be fast. That's
Yeah.
kind of to me. Uh, but it depends what people want out the instrument. I look at it as just a creative thing, and I don't think about it so much. It's sort of whatever comes out when I pick it up. It just been lucky that something just comes out. So I hope that answered your question. Who do you like? Who's your favorite guitar players?
Oh, I have a lot of too. But I like Kiko Loureiro from Brazil.
Okay. Uh,
Um, David Gilmour too.
yeah, he's pretty
Um,
fantastic. I didn't as young, I didn't really get into Pink Floyd. It was kind of to me like when I went to school, it was kind of the hippie people that smoke weed were into Pink Floyd, and I was just like so far on the other side of that. And now as I've gotten older, and I think that started when I was doing the album Broken Songs with Human Drama.
yeah,
uh, Donnie kept going, think Gilmore, think Gilmore. And I think at that point, I really kind of went, okay, I knew some Pink Floyd, but then I got, it's like, man, that guy is so uh, amazing. Just,
crazy.
yeah, it's pretty crazy how what he
Well,
can pull from an instrument.
well, the time in Zoom is too short, and I think we have to finish.
Well,
But thank you very much for your time, for sharing your experience with us. You can send us a greeting for Pyromania and all your fans in Mexico.
oh, I just want to say I love your heart and passion for music. Please never lose that. It seems like in today's world it is easy to, and you guys are people in Mexico are a true beacon in kind of a dark world. So I appreciate that. It means the world.
Thank you so much. My name is Abril Granados from Guadalajara, Mexico, and we here with Michaerl Ciravolo. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear. I really appreciate it.
See you later.
Gracias.
Gracias.